Hello everybody, welcome back to our HTML and CSS tutorial. In the previous episode, we have discussed how to create a footer inside a website, and in this episode, we are going to learn how to use variables in CSS. And I know some of you might not be familiar with what a variable is, because this is the first time we're talking about variable in this series. And for those of you maybe that might have an experience with other programming languages like Python, C++, or maybe even JavaScript, you might have an idea of what a variable is. But don't worry, whether you have an experience with variable or not, I will try to explain what variables are in simple terms in such a way that even if you know it before, you can get a little bit more understanding on what you have already know. And if you have never heard of variable before, this is your first time, then don't worry, you also get it. So variables are like containers we used for storing data in programming languages. What I mean is that, let me show you our today's example. As you can see, this is the page I have created for today's example. And what I just did is that I created this header with a blue color and our footer at the bottom with also blue color. And the text inside is white, and our main body is something just with this color. Some of you might think this is white, but it is actually not pure white. It's kind of a little dark. It's just because that it is the only white, that is why you're seeing it like this. So what we are going to be doing is that we will create the variables that we will store the color of our header and the color of our text and the color of our footer as well, and the main body also. That's just what we are going to be doing. I think this will be a very good example to explain what variables are. So let's first go back inside the text editor and write the HTML code for today's episode. First of all, let's start by creating a header like this. And inside this header, let's just store a paragraph. And for this paragraph, let's just add a text of something like, "Welcome to my website," like this. And let's just leave it like this, and let's come down right here and create our main tag like this. And for this main tag, let's also add another paragraph inside it, and let's just type this is the main content of my website, like this. And let's just also leave it like this, and let's come down again and create a footer tag like this. And inside this footer, let's also add a paragraph like this, and let's just add a copyright symbol like this, and copy semicolon like this. And let's just say tech with Ismaeel like this, Ismaeel like this. And let's just add all right reserved like this. And I think this is the only HTML code we will be needing for today's episode, since today's episode aim is CSS variable. So let's just save it with Ctrl S and go back inside our browser. Let's just close this page and refresh like this. As you can see, our code has appeared. Now let's go back and style it. Let's go inside our CSS file like this. First of all, to declare a variable in CSS, we start with this like this symbol, and then we will type in root like this, and then a semicolon. Our variables will come in between this curly bracket, this one and this one. They're supposed to be right here. And to declare also a variable in CSS, you have to start with dash like this. In other programming languages like PHP, we start with a $, and in JavaScript we start with the var keyword like that. And in other programming languages like C++, it depends on the value you are going to be storing inside that variable, because in integers we start with the int keyword, and for characters we start with the char keyword. It just depends on the value you are going to be storing in programming languages like that, but for CSS we only start with this dash dash like this, and then the identifier, which is the name of our variable. For this one, let's just call this variable main dash color like this, and this identifier, you can write whatever name you want for the identifier of your variable. I just chose to go with main color for this one, since the value I'm going to be storing is a color. Then the value of my color will follow afterwards. So let me just copy a color right here, and let's paste it right here. Let me just add this symbol hashtag like this and close it with a semicolon. And this is the color I have added for this variable. As you can see, I've already stored the color. It's kind of bluish color like this. And let's also create another variable and store another color inside it. We'll start with this dash dash, and for this one, let's call this variable background color like this, bg dash color, and then the colon will follow, and also let's store a color value inside it. So for this one, let me also copy the color with Ctrl C, and let's just paste it right here with Ctrl V, and then I will close it like this. And this one is kind of white bluish, but it's not pure white, it is just white like this. And let's store another color inside another variable like this. And for this one, since we're going to be storing our text color, let's store a white color, white dash color like this. And for white color, as usual, it's just FFF like this, and let's just close it with a semicolon. And one thing you're supposed to know, and also it's very important, is that you have to declare your variables at the top of your page. They have to be the first thing that come before, let's assume before going down and started maybe like styling our body tag like this. This body tag cannot be above them, because let's assume we are to use this color inside our body tag. When loading, when our code is loading for running, it typically started from top to bottom. And if, let's assume, you call your variable before declaring it, it will just not work like that. It can't work like that, because you have to declare the variable. The compiler needs to read the variable first before it can be able to apply it at the bottom. So it's very important to start declaring your variables at the top before styling anything else. So let's just continue and style our body tag. And for the body tag, let's just go with a display like this. And for the display, let's go with flex like this. And the next thing is our flex direction. And for the flex direction, let's go with column like this. And the next thing is our minimum height. For the minimum height, let's just go with 100 view height like this. And the next thing is the margin. As always, I told you it's better to remove the margin and then set your own afterwards. It's kind of just a little bit much better for me. I prefer doing it that way all the time. And then the next thing, let's style our header, this header tag like this. And for this header tag, let's just change the background color. And for the background color of our header tag, let's use the main color, this color right here. Let's use it in our header tag right here. And to call the variable we have created right here in CSS, we need to call it with a var keyword like this, and then the identifier we give to our variable, that is the name of our variable, which is this one. As you can see, the text editor is even suggesting all the names of the variables I've already created before, which is, for this one, we're going to choose the main color, this main color like this. And then if we're to come down, or first, let's just save it with Ctrl S and go back inside our browser like this. If we're to refresh now, as you can see, the color has already picked as the background color of our header right here. So let's go back and continue writing the code. The next thing is the color, that is the color of our text. And for the text color, let's just use the var keyword also and use the white color like this. And if we are to also save it and go back again, if we are to refresh, as you can see, the color has just picked. We don't need to create, we don't need to just write the color over and over again. All we need to do is just to call the name of our variable and the color will just pick up, just like that. And the next thing is our padding. And for the padding, let's just make it 20 pixel like this. And I think let's just leave our header tag like that. And let's move to our main tag like this. And for the main tag, let's also style it flex. And for this flex, let's just make it 1 to just grid fill everything. And the next thing is the background color of our main. And for the background color of our main, let's give it this color, this one, this BG color. So what we need to do is just to call the var keyword like this, and then we will choose BG color like this. And then let's come down and also give it some padding like this. And for this one, the padding should be something like 20 pixel like this. And I think let's just scroll a little bit like this. Let's leave our main tag like that. And the next thing is our footer tag like this. And for the footer, let's also change its background color. The background color of our footer, let's give it var, let's give it this blue color also, this one. And the next thing is the text color of our footer. For the text color, let's also use the white color we have created, this one, pure white like this. And the next thing is the padding. Let's also give it some padding like this. And for the top and bottom, let's give it 10 pixel like this. And for the left and right, let's give it 20 pixel like this. And let's just save it with Ctrl S and go back inside our browser. If we are to refresh right now, as you can see, everything has been added successfully. Now, I know some of you might think, well, why do I need to use variables since I can always add the colors myself? Well, you might not need to use variables for now, but heed my words. As time goes, the advantage of using variables is that, let's assume I have created a lot of different pages, for example, or a lot of different headers, or maybe things that I've used blue color for, because in designing website, maintaining one color for your website is kind of make it a little bit classy. So let's assume you have to use this blue color for your header, for your footer, and some of the text in your website. And then all of a sudden you think maybe this blue color is not what I want, you want to change it. All you need to do, you don't need to go all the way inside your code and start looking for everywhere you added a blue color, like here, and then I have to change it to blue color right here, I have to change it to blue color. Everywhere you use a blue color, you have to go separately and change it. It can be a little bit, well, a little bit boring like that somehow, but all you need to do, let's assume for some reason I think maybe I don't need to use a blue color. All I need to do is come inside this variable right here and just delete this blue color. And let's assume I've decided to go with something dark like this one. If I just change it to this one like this and then save it with Ctrl S, go back inside the browser, if I'm to refresh, as you can see, this one and this one, all their colors have changed. And let's assume I've created many different things with this color. All I need to do is to change the value inside my variables. All of them, the value inside them will just change automatically. And if for some reason I think, well, maybe this one is not what I want, also I prefer the blue better, all I need to do is go back inside the code right here and then change it to the blue color. Let's just go back and refresh. As you can see, our blue color is back. Just like that, very easy. It's kind of give you a very handy way to go with your code. And using variables is kind of very important, and it's a very good habit. So I always recommend, when you know there is a value that you're going to be using over and over again, just store it inside a variable to make it easy for you. And this is how you use variables in CSS. And this will be the end of today's lesson. I hope you guys enjoy. See you in the next one.